Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call this meeting of the Council and Committee for the Town of Petawawa in order for September 8th, 2025. Welcome members of council, staff, and our special guests. We'll begin this evening's meeting with the reading of the land acknowledgement, and this evening it's Councillor Town.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As we gather this evening, I would like to acknowledge on behalf of the Petawawa Town Council and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Omama Wanini people. We would like to thank the Omama Wanini people and express our respect and support for their rich history, and we are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years, and we wish to acknowledge our shared responsibilities in responding to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission 94 calls to action. Call to action number 67. We call upon the federal government to provide funding to the Canadian Museums Association to undertake, in collaboration with Aboriginal peoples, a national review of museum policies and best practices to determine the level of compliance with the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples and to make recommendations. Recent progress. Canadian Heritage has provided funding to the Canadian Museums Association to support the implementation of Call to Action number 67, and with the release of the report and recommendations in 2022, the Call to Action number 67 is complete.
Thank you, Councillor Donovan. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest on any of this evening's matters? Then we'll get right into it. We're going to start first with the Economic Development Monthly Report for the month of August. Christine, you're up.
Yes, good evening, Mayor, members of council. This is the Economic Development Report for the month of August. Just general information related to the industrial park. There is a private land sale that was going through that was affecting interest in other industrial park plans. So there was a bit of back and forth and consultation with various parties related to that. Ongoing engagements with the county on the height program and the 3 additional CIP applications which were presented in the month of August, duly signed contracts and proceeding with the work after council's endorsement. On August the 6th, we celebrated the grand opening of Bar Burritos here in Petawawa with members of council and T-Band. And of course, on August the 23rd, we celebrated the expansion and the grand opening of the new location of Dark House Brewing Company here in the town of Petawawa. Melanie and I have also been meeting with a number of developers lately, specifically through the month of August. 2 underdeveloped, or a single underdeveloped parcel of property that was pending a separation was recently purchased, and so the purchaser did have a meeting with us in the month of August, and we have ongoing discussions about what can be realized on that parcel of property. And then we also did a site visit with another developer on August the 27th, which we've been collaborating with over the course of the last couple of months. In communications and marketing, Ruby did a lot of work in the Fall for Petawawa Guide. It is available as a flip book on the municipal website currently, and it's scheduled for print. We are expecting it in now. There's ongoing work on the new municipal website, and we started engaging on the Veteran Business Vendor Expo, which will happen on November 1st of this year. So we had a meeting with MyFM about a partnership collaboration that will support the communications of that particular event and also add value to the veteran vendors for participating. In terms of partner engagements, attended the Dean's Breakfast at the Algonquin College on August the 19th. And also related to programs and events, of course, we celebrated the Youth Market August the 15th. I've been meeting with Gabriella of Local Immigration Partnership Group to talk about a joint event in the month of October during the Petawawa Ramble. And on August the 20th, we did award the RFQ for the Petawawa letter sign to Speed Pro signs in the amount of $49,887 plus HST. This was for the fabrication, the delivery and the installation of 8 Petawawa letters for a base to be constructed at the Norman Street redevelopment project. 12 companies received the RFQ, 3 companies bid on it, 3 staff members review it and scored the submission separately. The RFQ was a budgeted item within the process, so it's within our procurement policy to proceed with that. Subsequent meetings with the proponent have been had related to that work. And then in other activities, I'll just highlight ongoing work with wayfinding. I did present to the branding committee just recently a finalized, or a soon to be finalized document, so hopefully we'll be bringing that forward very shortly. You'll see listed here all of the reports that came before council in the month of August, including the wayfinding and community art initial to design concept, and then the business retention and expansion findings. Just some quick items I would like to bring to council's attention. At Petawawa Container Market, we're hosting the Fall Night Market on September the 19th. The Ramble is October 16th to the 19th, and a variety of the activities that are happening during the Petawawa Ramble are open and tickets are available, including residents to sign up for their portion of participating in the Ramble. It is live until the activity takes place. So if you're a resident of the town of Petawawa and you want to put up a harvest display, please register so we can award you cash prizes from our local businesses. Over 70 businesses signed up to put up a display this year, including a couple of businesses up on the Mechanics, or up on the Garrison Petawawa, so that's nice, a little bit more reach. November the 1st is the Veteran Business Vendor Expo, and December 6th will be our holiday tailgate market. And so all of our communications for all of those activities have been released. And that's my report. I'll happily answer questions if there are any.
Thank you, Christine. Questions on the report? Deputy Mayor Sadler.
Not a question, just I'm very excited to be going to a municipal conference in Toronto the same weekend as Petawawa Ramble, but equally saddened not to be able to participate in the Petawawa Ramble because it's always fun. So take this moment to encourage all of our residents to get out because there's something for everyone and you will absolutely be delighted. I just really think that the fall for Petawawa, the guide has got a really catchy name. So kudos to the team for that. Thank you very much.
Other questions on the report? Councilor Susan?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a question. How many businesses signed up last year as a comparison?
We had 68 businesses. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So it's just a matter of timing, capacity. Some sign on again, some don't. It's just.
Yeah. 70 sounded. And then I realized I wasn't sure what the baseline was. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Further questions, comments? Well, it's nice to see a lot of interest in commercial properties and commercial businesses, keeping you and Melanie busy over the month of August.
It's definitely keeping us very busy. For sure.
We're looking forward to seeing what the result of all this interest in the town of Petawawa is. Yeah, so it's great to see the Petawawa Ramble upcoming. And as part of it this year, there will also be an Algonquin Trail Race for the first time ever as part of Petawawa Ramble. Has the county given you any indication about when they will give you the results of the hike?
They did. They reviewed the application, and so we have some ongoing paperwork to do, but we will receive some funding from the hike program. I subsequently also sent them the 3 additional applications that we had, so it will be under review.
Right on. Okay, that's great. Anything further? Then I need a motion to accept the report. Moved by Councillor Root, seconded by Councillor Donovan, that the Economic Development Monthly Activity Report be accepted as information. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried. Thanks, Christine.
Thank you.
Next, we have the Public Works Monthly Activity Report for August. Chris.
Thank you, Mayor Service, members of council. We'll get right into the monthly report. Okay, under the civic properties, we'll move past Public Works Office. There's nothing to discuss there. Town Hall office renovation, we have a follow-up report, so we'll skip over that one for now. Under Civic Center parking lot improvements, we have construction well underway. All the storm sewer infrastructure has been installed, as well as the storm scepter system in the soccer field. That's complete. Construction has started on pickleball courts as well, and we're just waiting. This week we should see the subcontractor and working on concrete curbing, so we're moving along nicely with that project. Under the building condition assessment, we got some news today that we received our final reports, so that's coming to a close ahead of schedule, which is good to hear. Under water and sewer projects, no update on the first one, the sanitary sewer in Pinehurst. That's still to come. Under water tower rehabilitation, so that project has started. I'd like to thank the Aqua staff for the great job they did in drawing down the reservoir. So there's a lot of processes involved with taking a water tower offline, as you can well imagine. There's a lot of contingencies that go into it, a lot of testing. They did a great job during the week of September 2nd to the 4th. And as over the weekend, I was a little worried. I was hoping that everything was going to go good, and I didn't receive any calls. I did talk to Brad Sweet this morning, and everything seems to be working well with the system. And I'm hoping that residents, residents will find minimal impact from the reservoir being taken offline. Under grid tank number 2, rehabilitation and grading repairs, we're ahead of schedule on that project, so that's also proceeding well. The disinfection byproduct study is ongoing. Under road reconstruction, I should mention, I'll bring an update report to council in October for net zero. It requires more than just a monthly update, so it'll be a fulsome report in a month. Under road reconstruction projects, Murphy Road, nothing to report there. Norman Street. So we had our public information session held on September 4th. By all accounts, I thought we had a really good turnout and received lots of good feedback from the public. And I would say the majority of the feedback was really positive. So at that public information session, we presented the 2 options we had for the design of the roadway for the in and out access to the boulevard. And we also presented the design concepts for the renewal of the Kitty Land property. And again, it was very well received. It was good to see the public come out and offer their input. And thanks to that input, it looks like we have some good support on moving forward with one of the design options. So I'm meeting tomorrow with Lee Perkins from the County of Renfrew to get the county's okay on that design option. And then I'll be back to council on the 15th to seek our town council endorsement for the design option that seemed to be the preferred one at the Public Information Center session. So the next step involved there is, once we have those items out of the way, is get to tender, award, and move to construction as soon as we can. Under Black Bay Road in Eichstätt, that project is wrapping up quickly. So paving is complete, line painting is complete, shouldering is complete. I believe there's still a few mailboxes to relocate and the guide rail installations to complete. But by all accounts, again, the project looks really good. Really happy. We had some pretty heavy rains and we only had minimal washouts to the new shoulders, so seems to be holding up pretty good. Under PXO installations on Herman Street at Kitty Land parking lot and the PXO at Herman at Doran. So the Herman Street PXO at Doran, our goal is to have the construction completed by mid-October. And for the Herman Street PXO at the Herman Street Elementary School, we are out for tender today and closing September 15th with construction completion by the end of October. So that's our synopsis of our capital projects and construction projects. Under operations, many items to go through there. One of the highlights, I thought Teddy Seco did a really good job with the tree planting that we embarked on along the boulevard. So that was our first foray into some urban tree planting. but been much needed. So we planted 15 trees. I think they look really good, and I hope that's just the beginning of what our department is capable of doing in the years to come to improve more trees along the boulevard and in other areas of town where we need urban forestation more than what we currently have. And then under procurement, we had some ditching work that will be done in various areas around town. We put out our RFP with a closing date of the September 9th. That's for our municipal buildings HVAC preventative maintenance services. We have a tender out for our ball field lighting upgrades, and we also have an RFQ out for communication maintenance services. So that RFQ is in conjunction with the Petawawa Fire Department, and it's essentially looking after our emergency radio systems and the repeater systems that we have on our towers. We didn't have a maintenance service for that before. It was always call in and try to put out the emergency as quick as we can. This, I think, is a better way to go about things. We really rely on our two-way systems. So if we can have someone on retainer that's going to come and help us when we need them, also maintain our systems better, I think it'll be a good investment. Under civic properties operations, the only item I wanted to update there was the ice plant schedule for startup is September 22nd. So we're closing in on ice going into the rink. And under waste management, Trevor Whitkey provided a really good synopsis on where we're at with our blue blocks transaction. There are many points there. Trevor asked if he should be here tonight. I said it was okay that he wasn't, but if you have any questions, you can direct them to me or email me, and Trevor would be happy to respond. Okay. Under water and sanitary, so the water treatment facility, nothing major to report there. Everything seems to be going very well with our ongoing monthly sampling and our routine inspections. And as well, under our sewage treatment facility, same thing. Everything seems to be rolling along nicely. And I'm hoping to bring a report to council next week with regards to an item at the water plant. And I've asked Brad Sweet to attend with me as council requested. So he'll be here as well. And I believe that's it for my monthly report for August. I'm happy to take questions.
Thanks, Chris. Questions on the report? Councilor Dunn.
Chris, I just wanted to comment as well on the open meeting at on the street. It was very well attended. It was good to see minds being changed as they were receiving the information and what was posted up there. So that was great to see. And I'm just wondering if on the Herman Street PXO might have anything to add with regards to that one.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. Council Donovan. Yeah, I forgot about that. Just to let members of council know, we are going to try on the Herman Street PXO adding the APS, which is the audible systems that Councilor Donovan has asked me about. So we've researched it, and I'd like to use that PXO as a trial, just to see how it functions and incorporate it into that PXO, and then moving forward, we'll see if we can change our other PXOs as well. So
thank you, Chris. Very much appreciated.
Councilor Carmen.
Thank you, Mayor Service. Thanks for the report. Everything seems to be going great this summer for as far as all the capital works projects, and everything's on schedule, on budget, which is great, as far as I know.
Yeah.
But I did notice that along Canadian Forces Drive, speaking of trees,
Yes.
along Canadian Forces Drive, we seem to have lost a number of our trees that were planted there. So I was just wondering if that was the hot dry spell, or how did we fare out in our complete tree inventory through the town this year? Have we lost others as well?
Yeah, so I can speak for Town Center. We actually removed about 40 trees 2 years ago. There was a number that were dead, and now we're going to have to go through again. What we really need to do is, so those trees were planted as part of the subdivision agreement, so they would have been planted and there was no maintenance done I think what we're realizing in Petawawa is that it's great to plant the trees, but you need some sort of a contract where you have ongoing watering of these, the younger trees for probably a good season to get them to take hold in the predominantly sand soils. So for the trees that we planted along the boulevard, we had town staff watering daily for 2 weeks. So there's a little bit more to tree planting in Petawawa than just planting the tree and walking away. They won't take very well. So we're looking at next year doing more planting along town center, and again having some sort of a contract that will either our staff does it or we'll hire a contractor to water the trees for a period of time. But further to what Councillor Connerty said, the dry spell did not help. I've noticed several trees, even one on Civic Center Drive, that looks like it died due to the dry spell. So the season has not been kind on trees, especially the younger trees that haven't had time to really take.
Thank you. They're quite expensive to purchase and plant, so it's worthwhile to protect our investment a little bit with the watering contract.
Yes.
Thank you.
Just to follow up on that before I get to you, Deputy Mayor Sadler, as we're talking about trees and a possible contract to ensure that our investment of these trees is not wasted, I guess we'll say. So I like your idea of having either our staff or maybe our gardening contractor or somebody watering them to ensure that they're okay. But included in that might be a pruning program as well, just to help the trees flourish a little better. Because I noticed even driving along and looking at some of them, the branches are all sprouting up, at the ground level and a foot from the bottom of the tree. So I guess kind of an all-encompassing tree program to make sure that they flourish. Deputy Mayor Sadler.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just couldn't let this report go without acknowledging that I now see work orders scheduled, work orders complete, and a listing. So thank you very much for that, Chris.
No problem.
I was looking for the information at the bottom, and I was just, oh, there it is. Thank you, appreciate it.
Further questions? Councillor Griswold.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to touch on the tree stuff as well, do we not have a lead hand at Civic Properties that does arboricultural, or so like that wouldn't be included? So should watering, could watering not be attached to them, and pruning as well? For all that stuff, would be our paying somebody to do that.
Correct. We do have an arborist on staff. I think it boils down to the capacity of staff at the present time to take on more of those duties. It could be something where we hire a contractor to do pruning, but it's done under the supervision of the town arborist. That might be one method that we could look at. So, okay, thanks.
Further questions on the report? Just a question about the crossing guard. Is that individual in place?
Yes.
Now that school has started?
Yes.
And will be until we get the PXO? Right?
Correct.
Okay. And just if you could pass on to Trevor, again, another well-written response letter concerning the Blue Box transition program. I think he captured what all of us are thinking and would like to say in terms of how this is all rolling out. So I think it's great that that letter encapsulates everything that we would like to say. And I hope the other municipalities are providing similar feedback. So it'd be great to see this roll out in a positive way again. So thanks to Trevor. Any further questions or comments? Okay, I need a motion to accept the report. Moved by Deputy Mayor Savern, seconded by Councillor Kazoo, that the Public Works monthly activity report be accepted as information. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried. Okay, next we have PW-26-2025 Petawawa Municipal Building Interior Renovations Project Update and Revision to Budget. Chris, you're on again.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Okay, as we all know, the office renovation is underway at Town Hall, and it has been a very compressed schedule to try to make sure everything's being completed on time, so that we minimize disruption and can get everybody, all the staff back to work, and of course, council members back to their usual home. Maybe it would be wise for me to give a little bit of background on this just before we get into the financial particulars. as to kind of what's gone on this project up to this point. So when we awarded the project, which was back in May, it was awarded at a certain amount of money, $269,900, with a contingency of just over 80,000. And that was for, I can direct to the screen, that was for that. The shaded areas is showing where the work was going to take place as per the original contract. So it involved the front office, like the reception area, the lobby, if you want to say it that way, as well as one office addition adjacent to the vault. And then the 3 offices in the council chambers were a provisional item, but based on the tender cost, we awarded to also include the 3 offices on council. So that was the original scope. What we've done since then, and first off, I'd like to apologize for not getting back to council quick enough on this. But we have made obviously some changes to the scope, and they include, so in the front lobby, we've added another meeting room. To show. So if you look when you come through the front doors to the left, there was going to be an open area there with like information for taxpayers. We've changed that to another meeting room. So in that area, that was the one main change to the front lobby. Adding that in, that was a change order for that. And then the other major changes came to council chambers. So the area in council chambers that's not shaded, we've made changes to that. So the entire council chambers is getting repainted, all new carpeting, all new ceiling tiles, and all new LED lighting. As well, we made changes to the 3 offices. As part of the original scope of work, we were going to use existing lighting in those offices. We've since changed that. Because we've done the changes to the council chambers, it made sense to put new ceiling tiles, new lighting into those 3 offices as well. We've also added a change to the existing, I want to call it, there was a janitorial closet and the washroom off of the mayor's office. So these were existing facilities. We've made changes to take those out. So now we have a new hallway, and maybe that's if I just approach it. I can explain it a little better here. So this is the CEO's office and our HR coordinator's office. This hall now will be completely opened up. So what it's done is it allows staff to there can be meetings going on in the council chambers. Staff can access the boardroom without going through council chambers anymore. So we have defined meeting areas in the boardroom, in council chambers, as well as we've added an additional meeting room in the front foyer. So that's essentially the big changes. As well, we've made changes to remove the existing wooden doors to council, replace them with updated glass doors for a much more modern look. We've also made changes to existing flooring. So, for example, new flooring in council chambers, new flooring in the lobby, but we were going to leave existing flooring in the hallway joining the 2. It didn't really make a lot of sense from the look. If you're going to have a nice new flooring in the front entrance and that area, and then walk through old carpet to the new carpet in the council chambers. So we've made those changes as well. So I think what's happened here is the staff efforts are of course in the right place, and all the changes we're making are going to make the town hall office reno a really nice renovation. The last renovation to the building was in 1997. However, there's 2 things that were happening here, and this is where I of course have to take ownership. So my report to council in May awarded the construction and awarded a contingency allowance. However, when staff were discussing these new changes to the council renovation, we were referring to the capital budget a lot of times. We would refer back to the capital budget and we would say, well, we can make these changes because we have room in the capital budget. But that's not the right way that I was supposed to be doing that. I should have seen the changes as they were coming in, seen the costing on those change orders and caught it quicker and came back to council quicker. So I do apologize for that. I was slow in coming back to council. The money is there. The money is in the capital budget to cover the changes, but it wasn't communicated well to council. So on that, I take full responsibility. It is my project. It's under my department, so I should have caught it quicker. So back to the report. Essentially, what we have is a number of changes. They're around 140,000. It's not all confirmed yet, but we're right around 140 to 145,000. 45,000 of those changes apply to the original scope, and about 100,000 of the changes apply to additional changes in the scope that were discussed at the staff level and implemented. Okay, and I do have the different change orders here in front of me. For instance, the exterior door, we were hoping to repurpose the sliding door that was used on the existing entrance. That won't work, unfortunately. So one of the change orders was to purchase a new fully accessible door. They are not cheap, but that, for example, is a change order that applied to the existing, the first scope of the project. And then we had change orders that were not for the original scope. That included the new hallway to access the boardroom, as well as all the changes to the council chambers, and some of the changes to flooring. So staff are looking for council support in acknowledging the changes, and we're hoping to proceed under a different budget framework, which is essentially using the capital budget that was in the 25 budget and using that as an offset limit instead of dealing with changes which are happening really quick because it's such a compressed time frame, and probably not having the time to react quick enough to get back to council to make the changes. So in hindsight, if I could go back, I probably would have framed my initial report in May differently. But at that time, I wasn't thinking there would be that amount of changes or the cost that was associated with them. So that's essentially the report in a nutshell. I'm happy to answer any questions, but essentially we're looking for council to support us in proceeding with the budget or proceeding with the project using the capital budget as an offset limit on the project.
Okay, questions on the report? Councillor Kudlow.
Thank you. Just less a question, more a comment, but when you're describing the changes that you're going to be making, some of them seem so common sense. It's going to really improve the use of that space. Certainly, especially taking out that hallway, redundant washrooms. I totally understand how things happen on the fly. This has been, there's been a lot of other events around the renovation demolition. It's been a lot for staff, I'm sure, to continue doing the work day in, day out. Staff have been commendable. There haven't been a beat drop. So it's time to bring the staff home. You said bring council home, but I'd say bring staff home, certainly. But these changes, they seem within the scope of what we're trying to accomplish, which is a building that's going to serve the town going forward, understanding that we're growing our staff because we're growing our town. So these changes I can totally accept, and I'm happy to support what you presented. Thank you.
Councillor Carmen.
Thank you, Mayor Service. I will not support this request in any way, shape, or form. You refer to the capital works budget, and sure, the budget is there. However, it was not authorized. It was authorized to 260,000 for the project with an 80,000 contingency. And of the change requests that are related to the original scope, That's what the contingency is for, right? So all of those changes in the original scope that were determined to be absolutely necessary are covered off with that contingency. That's why we did it. And so basically, when I read this, I see, oh, there was $200,000 there. Let's spend her up. And I am not going to support that. No. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Simon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I believe that the discussion about what was needed to be happening and whatnot occurred over about a 1-year period. I know that we kept putting it off in terms of bringing it to council. So I think there was lots of time to have good, solid discussion about what things needed to look like and bring it to council. I too can't support this. This is a process issue for me. We have a process. We bring things to council. We, I believe, are the oversight in terms of that decision making, and the decision to make 2 new offices shouldn't be taken lightly, and is an important decision to put things like upgrading doors with glass inserts, upgrading 2 glass inserts with a wood frame is a Taj Mahal issue as far as I'm concerned. It's not good use and good expenditures of our dollars. We are accountable to the public for our expenditure of their tax dollars, and this is not cool for me. It's something that should have come before council. It's discussions that didn't just happen. Again, Chris, I'm sure that some things have to be made at the spur of the moment. But again, like Councillor Carmody, that's what contingency funds are for. And I think that I think there were more of us that knew about, and I'm not one of them, but more of that knew what was going on. We should have been included in this picture. I'm not debating on whether things were necessary or unnecessary. That's not the issue. My issue is around process, and our process is one where we bring these types of projects forward. We agree. It's a 41% increase over the budget that we approved. That's pretty steep to me. So, thank you.
Just a point of clarification, I think 3 offices within the council chambers were part of the original project.
Yeah, they were the original item. They were approved in the original scope of that.
So just for clarification, those 3 offices were part of the original.
They're depicted under the renovations and the changes. So, and one additional, anyways, regardless, that those are my comments. It's a process issue for me.
Gotcha. Councillor Driscoll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will too say I'm not happy about it. I'm very hesitant all the time on contingencies to begin with because there is no council oversight over the contingencies. I know the CAO might have to sign off depending what it is. But as far as I'm concerned, change orders should not be included in contingency. When I see a contingency, it's unforeseen costs to finish the project the way it was saying. Like when we talked about your underneath the trailer park, we tried to put the contingency in because of a previous project, we had flooding issues, we needed to spend more money. So I get having contingencies for certain projects. Change orders are not a contingency. That should have been done in the original planning process. And if we failed to plan it properly, that should not be now going back. And when we have an $80,000 contingency and now it's $145,000, that's a serious increase. And now we want more money to continue with it. So I am 100% not in support of this. I agreed to the first piece be the 269,000 plus HST. And as far as I'm concerned, this is a complete cost overrun with not enough oversight from council or at least information. So I'm definitely not supportive of it.
Further questions, comments?
Just more so of a comment. I as well am of the feeling that these items that went in as change orders should have been included in the original scope if that was the product that we wanted to have. I understand that as things come up, you may think of new ideas in terms of how to upgrade or present something in a different manner. But unfortunately, we had approved a budget for this with its HST and a contingency. And it's it strikes me as a cart before the horse now that it's coming to council. 'Cause I'm not sure how many of these changes have already happened before today's meeting. But yeah, so I think it's definitely, I won't be able to support it with regards to increasing that amount of $145,000.
Councilor?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, Chris, I agree with all the councilors around the table. This should have been brought back. I know it's hard to do, but that should have been brought back. Has any of this work started? So what's your plan now?
I'm not too sure.
How much are we talking?
Well, essentially, the hallway is under construction, the council chambers is, all the tiles have been ripped out, the lights been changed. They've authorized the carpeting. It's all underway.
Now we have to decide, Mr. Mayor, what the next plan is, or something, there's money been spent that hasn't been approved.
Further questions or comments? Yeah.
I think Chris was gonna touch on one thing, but it's not that I'm trying to advocate for the increased spending, but one of the things with the contingency funding that came about was there was verlicumite, I can't pronounce that word, but certain tiles underneath the flooring that we did not know was there, which did anticipate the increase to the flooring that we would not have known. So just to say that there is an added cost above that contingency of 80 that I know, as Councillor Driscoll mentioned, you do see some things come up, but this was one that was an added cost that when you lifted up the carpet in the council chambers, I mean, it's there. So to level out the flooring, we had no choice but to decide to do that at that time. So just wanted to let council be aware of that.
Was there something else under the front entrance too that came up that we were unaware of? In terms of electrical
Yes,
piping or something?
but that would have still been, in the original scope. So they've uncovered the hydro lines that feed from the generator into the building, are at a shallower depth than they anticipated to put the new, foyer on. So they've had to go get some geotech, advice before proceeding with that. But again, that was part of the original scope. And if there would have been additional costing for that, it would have been within the original $80,000 contingency. So it doesn't really apply to the changes that were made. And the changes I'm referring to that are essentially the costs that we're discussing tonight are the hallway access to the boardroom, and the changes to council, the chambers itself, new doors, to council, as well as some additional flooring. And again, if I could go back in time and I saw the change orders coming in and I knew I saw pricing, but I never actually put it all together as to, wait a minute. And it was, I believe, last week when I contacted the CEO and said, I have to go to council right away because our changes have eclipsed the contingency. So, yeah, that's on me. So,
Deputy Mayor Simon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Chris. I think what I'm hearing you say is that you have been now taking a look at all the change orders and adding them together and that somebody else made decisions, or somebody had to make decisions to make those things happen. So that's really that's a separate issue. And so I appreciate that you brought this report together, but this is not your project. You are simply doing the work and managing it. There were other decisions, the new doors with the fancy glass. Somebody had to think of that. Somebody had to approve that. So that's where I have issue. Thank you.
Councilor Simon.
Thank you, Mayor Service. 100% agree with what Councillor Driscoll said about the contingency. They should not include change orders. You rip up the carpet, you discover something that wasn't immediately visible. Sure, that's contingency worthy, but not change orders, not new glass doors, not that type of thing. And I'm shocked and dismayed, saddened that we've been spending public dollars that are not authorized to be spent. That is a pretty sad day at this council chamber, in my mind.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is there's some displeasure about the process that's taking place. And, I have to take ownership of this as well, because I'm in there most days and I hear discussions, and when I hear good ideas, I think, yeah, that's a good idea. And maybe Chris is right to a certain point, like things do happen, ideas pop up. And when all of those ideas get put together and start to get costed out, I guess it can sneak up on you. There is the other factor that we're trying to get this done in a time crunch. And so things pop up and decisions are made and then the process isn't followed. So we are where we are here. And where do we proceed from this? Are there some things that we can stop right now to say, you know, to claw this back to get us to the $80,000 level?
Unfortunately, no. The hallways, they've removed the janitor's closet, they've removed the washroom. All the plumbing work has been done. So it's really just the finishing of the hallway. That'll be finished, that'll be complete. And then as far as the changes, the council chambers, we probably could put a stop to the door. We could keep the wooden doors. They haven't removed those yet, so probably stop that change order. But as far as council chambers, we really can't pull back on, like, the new lighting is in, the new ceiling tiles are ordered. The carpet has been ordered. And the flooring upgrades, they're not of a magnitude that would have thrown the budget out of whack, regardless. It's the council chamber upgrades and the new hallway that are the big ticket items here that are throwing us out, but they're well underway with those changes. Again, as I stated before, I believe the staff were thinking and trying to make good decisions. The issue was we saw 270 for the construction and 80,000 for contingency. That report went through, and then as we were discussing the build, and I know in discussions with our new CAO, who came in after the May 5th award, so we had a change in leadership. We unfortunately were looking at the changes and reflecting back to the capital budget. And we were saying to ourselves, well, we have room in the budget. But again, and I acknowledge my mistake, and I didn't communicate that to CEO Collin, and I should have. I didn't, for whatever reason, I did not go back to that report and catch my own error. If I had done that, we probably could have just put a hold on the contingency, like on the changes, until I could have got back to council. But again, we were, you're trying so hard to get this done by September 25th. We've got a multitude of other projects on the go. Ted Marcotte has been the lead on this project. So I'm catching things as they're moving along. It's on me, so I take full responsibility for it.
Councilor Coutu?
Thank you, Mayor Suggers. I just wanted to propose to my fellow councillors, just as a thought experiment, you take the why of this out of the equation. So how we got here aside, looking at the changes on the table, does it make sense to keep a private bathroom for the mayor? Or should we create a hallway so we can make better use of the space? I'm interested in that kind of discussion at this point, given where we're at. It's sort of the idea that you find a scratch on your boat, and if you know who's responsible, you're upset with them, but if you don't, you're just fixing the scratch. So in this case, can we, focus on the scratch just as a thought experiment?
Yeah, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus here. I just want to take my part of the responsibility, because I'm there at town hall all the time throughout all of this construction process. And when I'm presented with ideas like the hallway going in that sound like this is a fantastic idea. It's a great way to make our boardroom a usable space without the council changes being interrupted. We have a meeting here and a meeting here. So when I hear the ideas, I think, yeah, that's a good idea. And the whole time these ideas are being tossed around and basically implemented, I guess the thought process about, okay, how much is this going to cost? You're looking at the $80,000, and at the time you think, well, that can probably be done and fit it into the $80,000. Then by the time you've looked at all these changes and they're implemented, and then the costing comes back, and this is the point that we're at with where we are here, that these change orders that looked like good ideas at the time have now put us over this $80,000 contingency. So as Councillor Coutu said, here's where we are. And what do we do now? We're at a point where it's difficult to roll some of these changes back. I mean, we can take a look at what can be stopped, what can be removed at this point in the construction process. But we might be at a juncture here where we're not going to be able to plow it back to where we want it to be. Councillor Kennedy.
I just have to say that good ideas do not trump policy. No matter how good an idea is, you've got policy in place, you have to follow it. You can't just be out there spending money like crazy, unauthorized money. And as far as our goal or our job here as a council, I don't believe is to redesign architectural plans. That's not why we're sitting here, to come up with designs for a new design for the town hall. It's not our job. Our job is one of governance. We look at things, approve them, but we're not in the business of designing new spaces for our living quarters, our working quarters. So yeah, that's where I stand on that. I'm not going to sit here and try and come up with a solution for this. Or a new design.
So let's have some ideas then about how do we proceed from the position we're in right now. Anybody have any ideas of, other than trying to find things that we can stop and things that we can claw back to see if we can get back to the original approved contingency? Councillor Jones.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, I don't have an answer to that question, but I did want to, I must make the point that it's not a matter of looking at why. I think we all understand the fact that you can look at diagrams and once you get going, you can change them. We understand the why. I think the question here, as we've been put forward, is the how is the issue with this over expenditure, not so much the why.
Mm-hmm. That goes back to the process again.
Mm-hmm.
Any other comments?
So
Deputy Mayor Sanders?
thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I think we're in a little bit of an emergency situation here. I think what we need to do is maybe not make a decision tonight, put the stop on, and maybe we call once the staff have had a chance to percolate this and talk about it, come back with some ideas and whatnot, come back, we have another meeting. I don't think I'm not comfortable solving it tonight. I don't think, as Councillor Kennedy said, I don't think that's my job. I think my job is one of governance and policy and things like that. So I would rather leave it to the team to go away with this and maybe come back with some ideas, some solutions. I would feel quite comfortable with that.
Councillor Kerman?
I agree with the Deputy Mayor 100%. That is a reasonable way to proceed. We weren't involved in the decision-making to arrive at this point. We were just presented with here's the current scenario. And I don't think we would do a good job at trying to unravel it right now and come up with a solution. So yes, back to staff and get the thinking caps on and come up with something.
How's everyone feel about that? Okay, so direction to staff then to get the leadership team together and come up with a solution that you think council will be pleased with in terms of where we are right now and the process going forward. Yep. Anything further on that? Okay, so you've got your mandate?
Yes.
All right. Next, we have planning and development monthly report for August. Melanie.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My report is fairly brief for August, because my previous report was 3 weeks prior. But as Christine mentioned, we've had a very busy summer meeting with developers on various properties throughout town, particularly the vacant properties along Petawawa Boulevard that are for sale. So we've had multiple people coming in to ask about the same property. So that has consumed a lot of time in August. It was an exciting time though to see people interested and talk with them about their ideas for developing in Petawawa. We also have had a couple groups come in, people who have bought lots in the Seamus subdivision. So that subdivision was created out in Black Bay a couple of years ago, and there hasn't been a whole lot of activity there, but lots are now being sold, and people are bringing in their plans and talking about building in the spring. So that's been good to see as well. When we're not doing that kind of day-to-day stuff on the application front, it's been a fairly slow summer. We've been doing more inquiries than new applications, but we're trying to pick away at all these policy reviews and updates. Everything's in various states, and it's, you know, starting to bug me now to actually get them across back to you and back to the finish line. So hopefully this fall you'll see a pretty steady progression in bringing these things back to get them across the line. In Appendix A, active planning applications, I did want to point out that for the Winston Avenue development, we issued the first building permit last Friday for the first block of 4 townhomes. Kind of interesting, we had their application was submitted in April. It was revised in June 10th. So it really, from the date that they settled on their final application, it was 2 months to get a zoning in place and to get site plan approval. So just in context of, you hear all this provincial government mandate, more housing, faster. When the applications come in complete and are sound, we're able to move very quickly, and we're actually, you know, we meet or surpass their expectations. It does take time though to get those complete applications. There were many iterations of this development to get it to that stage, but it is exciting now to see the building starting. So they hope to have half of it enclosed before winter and do the other half next spring. So 12 units and 12 in the spring. In Appendix B, which is building permit activity, numbers are a little down from last August, but last August in particular, we had building permits for 6 of the townhomes on Samantha Crescent with basement apartments. So that was a bit of inflates the numbers for last August. As far as where we're at, we have 229 permits issued so far this year. Last year at this time, we were at 210. The value last year of the construction was just under 31 million, and we're sitting at 26 million. Although the building permit fees last year at this time was 622,000, and we're at 692,000. So we're pretty much on par with where we normally are on an annual basis, but just a few fluctuations depending on what's applied for when. And the other thing I was going to mention as part of my monthly report is that one of our senior planners got married this past weekend. So we wish our congratulations to Noah and Michelle. Happy to answer any questions.
Congratulations to Noah and Michelle. Are they on a honeymoon now?
In Deep River.
Wow.
Very exotic.
Nice.
Questions on the report? Councilor Griffin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for the report, Melanie. I'm just wondering when we're potentially going to be seeing the back of your chicken bylaw come before council.
It is on the top of my list to be the next one we bring back.
Okay, thank you.
So anticipating one of the meetings here in September.
Perfect, thank you.
And it's nice to see Winston moving along very quickly.
Yeah.
They're not wasting any time. Other questions on the report? I need a motion to accept the report. Moved by Councilor Root, seconded by Councilor Driscoll, that the Planning and Development Monthly Activity Report be accepted as information. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried. Next, we have PL 28-2025 Habitat for Humanity Memorandum of Understanding. Melanie.
All right, so as council is aware, we've been talking to Habitat for Humanity since last winter, when they expressed interest to the mayor about doing potentially a project in Petawawa. They attended our development summit in March. Over the summer, they've been looking at kind of their memorandum of understanding they have with other municipalities. Lands that we might have available in Petawawa for affordable housing, and basically have come up with this draft memorandum of understanding, which is wanted to get before council for your thoughts about it. They are going to do a presentation next week. I just wanted to present this to you this week so you can think of some decisions that council needs to make, but also if you have any questions, then they'll be here next week. They can provide answers for them as part of their presentation. So that's the thinking with bringing this report to you this week before next week. So as outlined in their report, there's a few things that council has to decide on. But basically, to start, a memorandum of understanding is just kind of outlining expectations for the project. So what would Habitat be responsible for versus the county responsible for? It's not a contract of any sort. We're not bound by it. It's not approving anything. It's just saying we're going to work together and these are the things we expect of each other and we're working towards something. I provided a key map, so the lands that we identified that are town owned that would potentially be viable for an affordable housing project. They're on Briarwood, Oak, and Spruce, shown in the red box on attachment 2. So maybe we'll just get right into the discussion. So basically, the first thing that council has to decide is, do you want to work with Habitat for Humanity on a project? In particular, they're looking for a partner. So some desire for the town to provide some in-kind contribution to this project. And you'll see that flows through the other decisions to be made. So we have surplus land available. Is council willing to offer that to this project at a nominal cost? Our council has the ability under the Planning Act to waive planning application fees. Is that something council is interested in supporting? So basically, those are the kinds of things that council has to decide. Making affordable housing, as we're seeing in town, we're getting housing developments approved, but they're not affordable housing projects. Typically, some level of government has to contribute to see affordable housing proceed. So our ability to do that is to, provide some land that we have, surplus land, to this project, and potentially also to waive some fees. So I guess first, I'm just kind of interested in council's thoughts on whether, you're interested in partnering with Habitat on a project in Petawawa.
Questions on the report? Councilor Donovan.
I just wanted to say I'm extremely interested in dealing with Habitat for Humanity. It is a great project. But again, as council, we'll need to make sure we put the background work in terms of the land itself, as well as the fees that might be charged. Because those are two big factors that need to be evaluated as well.
Councilor Driscoll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. What is the size of those two lots being proposed right now? Like, are they half acre each?
Don't have that information off the top of my head.
Okay.
I think they were approximately 1 acre.
Each?
Yeah.
Okay. So I spoke with the real estate agent about approximate value, and I mean, they're at minimum $150,000 a lot. I in no way will support giving this for a nominal fee nor waiving fees. I think they're a good organization. I consider myself a charitable enough person, but we may have control of that land, but we don't own that land. The people of Petawawa own that land. And if we are selling assets they own, they should be getting reimbursed, not a small fraction of people. And if we do sell it, I would be market rate. And if they decide to continue to purchase it, I would like to see that allocated to whatever our potential tax increase would be this year, to be deducted off of it, so that everybody in Petawawa benefits from sale of this land because it is their land. As for public engagement, things like that, if council decides to go forward with this, then absolutely, I think there should be something. But as far as right now, that's where I stand. I think they're a good organization, but I don't believe in giving away land for free. I don't think housing really should be the municipality's mandate. It's more of the upper tier that should be dealing with this. So I don't think we should be paying for it. Thank you.
Councillor Kerman.
Thank you, Mayor Service. Thanks for the report, Melanie. I think that, I think prior to deciding on 1, 2, and 3, I think number 4 should be out front. Like, public engagement gives you an idea of what the general feeling is for this project and how the residents of the town, and in particular, how the residents in that neighborhood feel about the project. And to Councillor Driscoll's point, like, you can waive fees all you want, but the services that those fees are supposed to be paying for still need to be done when you're building, right? So who pays for that? That's general taxation. That money is going to be used to pay for those services. And again, the sale of the land. So what happens? We have people buying homes that are subsidized with public money and then subsequently sold down the road. I know we discussed that earlier, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but there was some mechanism in place to ensure that there was no profit taking happening here.
Yeah, as far as my understanding is the homes go back to Habitat. They don't go on the open market, and the homeowners do pay market rent, market rate. They pay a market value for the home. What makes it affordable is there's down payment and financing options that aren't available through the banks.
Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Sadler.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, being of a social service background, I certainly think that we need to be aware that there are lots of people with different types of needs, and housing is a basic need for folks. Thank you for that clarification. That it will go back to, that's one of my questions. So when somebody sells, what happens? So they don't actually sell; they're basically paying the mortgage off, and then it goes back to Habitat for Humanity. So they have that sale money to do something else with it. I guess I'm just trying to understand, and maybe if this is a question best posed to Habitat for Humanity. Yeah. But, you know, from a perspective of being supportive of the community, I like the concept in principle. Again, I'd like to know what the cost of the land is. I don't, you know, if it's $150,000 per lot, that's a lot of money. I'd rather have as opposed to a nominal fee. I'd rather have a discussion as to what a more reasonable fee could look like. But at any rate, I'm looking forward to the presentation because I was on holidays and I wasn't able to join via Zoom from where I was. So I will look forward to the presentation next week. Thank you, Melanie.
Councillor Kirkland.
Thank you, Mayor Service. If I could, Deputy Mayor, I worked with Habitat on different builds and such, and one of the best things they do is they help people build that equity they might need to enter the regular market, as it were. So any increase in price of that house, they would share with that person. So you don't leave without enough after having paid forever, et cetera. So it's a good mechanism to ensure that you're not, even bereft, you're not paying rent down the toilet, but you're building for your next home. I understand these to be townhomes, which is a really important niche in our housing market. So building on what Councillor Donovan has said, I support this as well. This will effectively create a land trust in our town that will provide affordable housing in perpetuity to our residents. That's a huge thing to do. So this is a marvelous project. I like the concerns that Adam raised. I think we could look at ways that we can make sure that we're sharing that benefit in a way that's fair and pays attention to where this land comes from, but also seizes the opportunity to create that enormous value that is really difficult to create in any other capacity. Creating community land trusts, working with other cooperative housing organizations is insanely difficult, but this is really amazing to have their engagement, their interest in Petawawa. So I'm definitely for moving forward on it with some key questions answered. Just to say, I think most people will have a supportive feeling about this project because it does help everyone. The more the housing landscape expands, the more affordability is supposed to come to everybody. So in that sense, you want to help your neighbor and see them properly housed, see their family in adequate housing, etc. So those are my comments. Thank you.
Councillor?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Melanie, for the words here on this topic. I'm interested to hear the presentation next week. I think there's a lot of questions that have to be answered in regards to Councillor Driscoll to give away the land. I need more information. Councillor Carmody, with the public involvement, I think we need that as well. Again, housing is not municipality, our business. Like Adam said, it's upper tier. I'm willing to listen, get some ideas. I would like to hear what the public has to say. That land is, I just can't see giving land away, but I want to hear our options, and I'm sure they're going to have some of those answers for us for next week. So I'll comment then.
Councillor Carmody?
Thank you, Mayor Service. So I forgot to mention, generally speaking, I'm in favor of this project. However, I would too like to know how much this land is worth. Like if it's $300,000 worth of land, it's an awful big chunk of money to be given away. And I don't know that we should be doing that. But anyway, my concerns.
CAO?
Thank you, Mayor Service. Through you to council, given the comments that are made, I think maybe it might be best to defer the land, like the 1, 2, and 3 motions, and maybe just decide tonight on whether council would like to hear from the public in an open house. We'll hear from Habitat for Humanity next week, and then we can decide on fair market value, how we want to go with those questions when we get that determined on the land value. And there's no sense in trying to pass a resolution tonight on those items when we're not there. Council needs more information.
Agreed.
Perfect.
I just have a couple questions for clarity for you, Melanie. Just thinking back to their presentation when they were here before council. The individuals that are allowed to access these homes, if I heard correctly, there has to be children involved
There has to be one child under 18
for anybody to come in and access one of these
to be eligible.
units. To be eligible for the unit. Okay. So what I'm hearing is there's a lot of questions that need to be answered about value of the land. Definitely, I'm with everybody that an open house is essential. I know that there is a statutory public meeting as part of the process. So what I'm hearing is you would even like to go one step further and have the public involved, even though all public would be eligible to come to that statutory public meeting. What I'm hearing is it seems like we would like to have an additional open house, I guess targeting the residents that would be nearby the housing units themselves. So would you like us to vote on motion number 4 then, this evening?
I don't even think there's
I would
an
say
option
no.
on number 4, it's just the first one. Like the council chooses to hold an open house as part of the land.
Okay. Okay, just before we do that, I'd just like to throw my opinion in here. And I can't speak for all the councillors, but I know that 2.5 years ago, or almost 3 years ago now, when I ran for council, that affordable housing was a big mandate here in the town of Petawawa. And I get that the upper tier, the county, social housing is their mandate. Right now in Petawawa, though, we have no social housing. We do have Riverview Estates next door that the county helps us manage. So I guess technically you can say that the county is providing some form of social housing, specifically for our seniors here in Petawawa, but other than that, we have nothing here in the town of Petawawa to offer our residents. So is the onus on us to do something? It's hard to say. Deep down, your conscience wants to say that there are residents here in our town that need assistance in terms of getting themselves housed. And we have an opportunity to do that here, even though it's not our mandate. But again, we do have some more information to figure out before we make a decision like that. I think that there is one option, and we can speak to the county. I am on well, everybody's on the community service committee now. It's a super committee. But the county and the town of Petawawa have discussed how we can share resources, how we can work together to provide different services. We have had discussions with the county about various, plots of land that we have here in the town of Petawawa, and saying would the county want to work with us to provide social housing. That would entail the county actually building social housing here, which is an expensive undertaking. Now we have somebody coming in offering to do the build at no cost to us or to the county. So I think we can perhaps approach the county and say, listen, we have an opportunity here. Would you like to be on board with us? You don't have to build it, but perhaps the county would come on board. I hate to speak for the county, but perhaps they would be on board in terms of offering some kind of financial compensation for the land as their contribution to social housing here in Petawawa. So that's a long shot, but perhaps that's an option.
Those are options.
Then the onus isn't on us to forego earning some kind of income on the sale of that land. But I think in the end, we're a municipality, and yes, we are using taxpayer dollars, but part of our mandate is to help everybody in this town as much as we possibly can. And no, it's not our mandate to build social housing. That's the county's. But if we can work with them and work with Habitat for Humanity and provide something that isn't available to the members of our community who are having trouble finding housing, because as we know, a lot of factors were involved. COVID, a lack of housing in the town. And over the past few years, we've seen the housing prices rise here in the town of Petawawa, making it difficult for new homeowners to get into the market, especially the younger members of our community. It's hard to save up enough of a down payment, and it's hard to make those mortgage payments. And when you can't do that, you turn to rent, and even the renting prices are pretty high here in the town of Petawawa. So is it upon us to at least do something, try something? And here's our opportunity to do that. So I hope that after the meeting or the presentation next Monday by Habitat for Humanity, enough answers are provided to us. And I can certainly, we have a meeting on Wednesday with the county. I can certainly broach the subject with them and say, here's an opportunity we have. We would like to come to the table with them. But I think the onus is upon us to try and do something, whether it's a tripartite relationship here, but to do something to provide this opportunity for our residents. Okay, so there's where we are. So we did have 4 motions to consider, but I guess as the CAO said, it's pretty hard to deal with the first 3 motions because they would involve us making a decision at this point. So do you want to deal, I'll read the 4th motion and we'll see if we want to deal with that one today. The 4th motion is the council chooses to hold an open house as part of the land transfer process, in addition to the statutory public meeting for the zoning bylaw amendment. So that would be the motion. There was an or. The or is the council chooses not to hold an open house and to only have a statutory public meeting for the zoning bylaw amendment. So I'll deal with the first one. The council chooses to hold an open house as part of the land transfer process, in addition to the statutory public meeting for the zoning bylaw amendment. If you're interested. Oh,
I'm sorry,
sorry.
I would just say there is no land transfer process
Oh, we're gonna
happening,
take the
so
land transfer.
I would suggest council makes no decisions tonight and
Yeah,
you
that's-
wait until you have your
Yeah.
presentation
Yeah,
and have more information.
So we don't, you don't even want to amend that to take out the land transfer?
No.
We'll deal with everything after Monday's.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
Well, that
I think
makes
the
sense.
open house was to decide if council wanted to proceed with the project. It's to inform the other decisions council has to make, not necessarily, you know, it will precede a zoning amendment. A zoning amendment might not even happen if council decides not to proceed.
okay, so we don't need to deal with anything. Any further questions from Melanie? Councilor Dunn?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just don't know if there's any value in maybe, gathering up our questions for Habitat for Humanity before they come next week, that they may be prepared.
That was the point of me bringing this to you tonight as well, is so that I can touch base with them tomorrow and they can provide some of these answers. Thank you.
Okay, so you've already heard quite a few questions. I guess if any members of council have further questions that you didn't. Yeah, go ahead, Councilor.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Mel, if you just find out too, like how big are the units and like how many units would be on a piece of property? Like, is it like a triplex or a fourplex or just for, say it's 1 acre land, like what's their build? I'd like to know that while they come, sorry.
I believe in the demonstration when Melanie and I met, they will be able to explain how the
That
footprint
build.
of,
The foot-
but
thank
we
you.
can make sure they do.
Yeah, just make sure they have that. That's very important for me.
Yeah, they had an architect donate some time to them, and so they played around with the sites. So they are definitely looking at townhomes because it blends in with the
Yeah, like-
neighborhood. And they have some different ideas about phasing it, and they put some thought into what it could be.
Councilor?
So when I went online, I looked at a couple of pictures. Some of the latest builds they look pretty nice. And, I just want to make sure everything's hoops in with their town. Thank you.
And I will add that it's not easy to get Habitat for Humanity to be interested in your municipality. They did show some interest in other municipalities here in Renfrew County, but whether the fit wasn't right or they just didn't get a good vibe from working with those various municipalities, in the end, they have chosen us. So I think that in itself is, I don't want to say it's an honor, but I think it's interesting that they decided that town of Petawawa was the place where we want to explore, an opportunity in Renfrew County. Okay, so I guess, if you have any further questions that you didn't think of here at the table, get them to Melanie between now and next Monday, the Habitat for Humanity.
Well, they'll have to submit their presentation by Wednesday at
Thursday.
noon, so I would
Wednesday.
have questions tomorrow.
Okay, questions more? The deadline is moved up. Okay, thanks, Melanie.
Okay, thank you.
Nothing for general matters, nothing for closed. I need a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councilor Carmody, second by Councilor Driscoll, that the meeting be adjourned at call of the mayor. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's good. Thanks, everyone.